And we are live. Hopefully. What's going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday. We are going to be picking up today where we left off on Friday. We made a ton of progress on the Voron 0.1. We are basically just going to be mounting the back panel today, the end stops, doing the mini afterburner, and starting the wiring, and we'll see how far we get with that. There's a dream, and the dream is maybe that we have it actually printing today. I still have to print out all of the panel mounts as well as the top hat parts, so that's definitely not going to be happening until at least Friday, but even if we can print with this thing not enclosed, that would be awesome. As always, I wanted to give a huge thank you to Fabreeko. They provided us with this kit, the LDO Voron 0.1 kit. Links will be down below in the description if you want to pick up one for yourself and build one. They are based out of the US. They are a very awesome small company that is really into the whole Voron line, and they've been absolutely great to work with. So, man, I was up insanely late last night working on this guy right here. This is the BQB1, and I was converting it with their IDEX upgrade, and it was anything but smooth sailing. The hardware side of things wasn't terrible as far as actually getting the second motor mounted, or everything mounted, the second hot end, the second extruder. It wasn't terrible, but the wiring side of things, the instructions are very non-existent or lackluster, and the board diagram that they have in their instructions didn't match up with my board. And when I think I finally got that all dialed in, when it came time to actually flash the firmware, that is where I spent hours and hours trying to get it working. Hey, Carl. Basically, the instructions just say, gosh, I don't want to get too heavily into this because this is the Voron build. The instructions are on the ground. I probably threw them here because I was frustrated. But the instructions just kind of say, go to the GitHub and flash the IDEX firmware, which I did. However, when I did that, the screen no longer connects to the board. And after doing lots of digging, I found out that the firmware, it seems that they have you flash is actually RepRap firmware, although it's running Marlin by default. And so after doing lots of digging, it seemed like I had to upgrade the TFT to basically have RepRap compatible firmware, but it just, I can't get it connecting. I flash it back to the stock firmware, everything connects, I flash it to RepRap, and no luck. So I did reach out to them yesterday just saying, hey, like, is the firmware that you guys compiled for the SKR 1.4 turbo, because that's what came in that printer. And so we'll see what they say. But yeah, I spent hours on it last night. I think I started probably around 8 o'clock and went to bed around 2 in the morning, and it's just like, oh, I'm feeling defeated right about now. So let's see who's all here. We got Chikara, hello again. Could you potentially link this channel on your main channel, a suggested channel? It took a specific search on YouTube to find it. Might be why it's only 335 subs. Yes, that is a fantastic idea. Did I not do that? Yeah, I will absolutely do that today. Nothing like making it confusing. Yeah, I searched online and there is like no videos except one guy from a different country that is basically stating the exact same thing as me, that the wiring didn't make sense, and that the board seemed different. So we'll see how it goes. I'm hoping that if I am able to get it cleared up, that my instructions will help point people in the right direction. They're interested in it, but yeah, so far it has just been, it's been a lot. So good evening. Malcolm is here. Average. Have you flashed the firmware? No, I haven't flashed the firmware yet. So we are exactly where we left off. So the last thing we did was get the X carriage on and the belts pulled through. Carl says, fitting Beal Touch the Ender 7 this week. Nice breakout board to hook it up to. Nice. Is the breakout board something third party someone created, or is that from Creality? Let me drink some water and then we'll get going here. I did want to give a quick thank you. Pi, I don't know if he is here today right now, but he is one of our patrons, and he had said last week during the stream that he had sent something on Amazon to me, and it showed up on Sunday, and it's a bunch of these little Allen screwdrivers with ball heads, and I don't have anything like this, believe it or not. I I just have Allen keys and a little screwdriver adapter thing that I've been using, and so these are awesome. Thank you very much. And then another viewer that was watching a couple of weeks ago from Canada sent the Dragonfly for the Creality printer. So I am probably going to be installing this on the Ender 3 V2, and I will very likely make a video on that. So thank you very much. I am really excited. It looks fantastic. So that will be that'll be a lot of fun. All right, so let's dive into today. Let's see if we can figure out where we left off. Belts we finished. That was, I think, the last. Nope, we did the bed as well. Bed we finished. Maybe the bed was the last thing. Yeah, bed was the last thing we did. We're on the end stops and the rear panel. And I did my best, as I've been doing, to go ahead and kind of prep things. Let me see, side camera. So I've got, for all the mini AfterBurner parts, as much as I possibly could, I have them all in here, all the printed parts and the fans and all the stuff we'll need for that. So we'll put that off to the side for now, and then we will work on the end stops as well as the rear panel. I really like it. It prints really well. Dragonfly and the Ender vid would be really good. Yeah, I'm excited. My Ender 3 V2 is pretty much stock other than a BL Touch. So I'm planning on installing the Dragonfly, and then also Microswiss actually released a dual gear extruder upgrade that's a Bowden setup. And so I'm actually gonna keep the Ender 3 V2 Bowden, but with their dual gear setup when that comes in, and then the Dragonfly. So it should be a pretty cool upgrade. All right, so let's see here. I feel like it's gonna take me a minute to get in the groove of things a little bit today. It's just such a late night. Okay, so first it shows we need the printed portion in this back panel, so I am going to go ahead and take off, let's go ahead and take off this covering. How's everybody's week been going? I can't believe it's already Wednesday. I feel like it's flown by. I got the mic fully charged, so hopefully that won't die. For everyone that was here on Friday, I think the mic died. Apparently it only has like a 5-ish hour battery life, and so we had to pull out the Yeti, which did a really good job actually. It's nice to know that we've got a backup option. I've heard that with the Ender 6, at least I think it was with the Ender 6, that there's like an upgrade. I think it's the same upgrade that you can actually do for the CR30, and it's like LDO, it's like LDO motors with these aluminum harnesses that are supposed to make it better. But yeah, I don't know much about the Ender 6. I had some requests initially to get one in to test out, but I just didn't really pursue it. But I do have the Ender 7. It's still in the box because I'm trying to wrap up a couple other printer reviews, and they take time. I try to be thorough, going over, like, getting footage of them and showing off their boards, and you know, obviously putting some prints through them. So it just takes quite a bit of time. How much are they, those the LDO motor upgrades that I'm talking about? All right, so I probably should have peeled this panel beforehand, but trying to do as much as possible on stream, just because, well, just because that way people can see it. Not that anyone would have questions on how to peel their panel. Okay, so let's see, what are we doing? What are we doing? So we've got the printed part out, we've got that. Component prep we shouldn't have to do because LDO did that for us. Okay, so the X end stop switch we are going to be installing. Let's see. It's really nice too because all the end stops are labeled, I believe. Y end stop, Z end stop. This must be the X. Yeah. So this is really cool. They just make it so easy. I don't know how well it probably won't focus this camera, but it says X end stop, so that way you know which end stop it is. And you know, again, a difference between going with the LDO kit versus sourcing yourself is I had to solder onto the legs of the end stop and then crimp the ends of the cable. So it's just a nice little thing that you don't have to do. And so this is going to mount on right here. Basically, there's a little nub that goes through one of the holes in the end stop, and then you're gonna use a self-tapping screw. So we will go ahead and try to place this correctly. Let's see, let me grab actually. Let's get those screws out. Why is this so awkward today? Self-tap. I really want to get Ender 5 and convert it to a Core XY myself. Yeah, I've seen that. That seems pretty cool. Did you see someone, Average, that installed the new LGX Lite on a Voron 0, or what was it on? I'm really curious. Like, that's something that I would like to try out. So, okay, one second. Make sure I line this up correctly while I'm talking. And let me see if the this kit that I got in has a size that'll work. Yeah, perfect. All right, so we are going to, can you guys see that, kind of? Basically, it's just, I mean, there's only one hole on top, and we are going to thread this in. Nope. There we go. So you definitely want it snug, but there's not exactly a lot of pressure going on in here, so there's no need to over tighten this. Like, my biggest concern is more so the X carriage printed part cracking than this slightly coming loose. And then there's a little channel up top here, which is, can I show you from the unbox camera? There's a little channel here, and you basically are gonna want them to make sure that you kind of push the wires so that way they fit within that channel. Because we're gonna be placing the motor on top of this. Oh, it's frozen. One sec, let's try this again. Let's see. Deactivate, activate. Yes, and we're back. Okay, so there's a little channel up here, and you basically want these wires to kind of be pushed inside that channel. We're gonna be placing the extruder motor on this curved portion, and so you just don't want these cables on this area because there's a chance that you could pinch it. I had that issue with my first build. Also, no, RCF, someone affiliated with Bondtech posted it. Okay, that's awesome. RCF has one on hand. Yeah, they look awesome. I'm really curious. I mean, I will say that, like, performance-wise, I've been really happy with the Mini Afterburner. Granted, I've only used PLA, ABS, and PTG. I haven't done a whole, some carbon stuff too, but I haven't really played around with flexibles so much on it yet, which I'd like to. But I am curious as to, like, a comparison of how they are between each other. Bondtech has been making some insane stuff lately with their new nozzles as well as these new extruders. All right, so we've got that. We've got this guy in. Now we're going to be installing the Y end stop, which is a little bit awkward. Let's see, I'm trying to think the easiest way I can show you guys. Let's try the unbox cam again, and we will turn this like this. And this is only a Voron 0. I'm just trying to picture in my head, if I build a bigger printer, like, how are we going to do it on this little space? So it basically is going on the back where this AB motor is. I'm gonna go ahead and push the carriage forward, move these wires out of the way, and then there's just two holes right on the side here that we're going to also use self-tapping screws. Just make sure that you also have the end stop in the correct direction based off the picture. And so in this instance, like, the actual lever that's sticking out should be facing upwards according to the picture. So we'll go ahead and grab two of these screws. Yeah, I'm really interested in testing out the those new nozzles as well from Bondtech. Okay, we'll thread that one's in a couple turns, then we'll grab, you guys can, yeah, you guys can see that. Hey, G Funny's here. I got, I think I told you, but I got your Patreon stickers in the mail yesterday. And ironically, I saw that you had messaged me Happy Taco Tuesday, and totally had tacos for dinner last night. Me and Aaron went out to run some errands, and there was a taco place called Baja Fish that we went to. Dude, my big hands are in the way. You guys can't really see what I'm doing. Called Baja Fish, and the tacos were absolutely insane. I got like beer battered fish tacos. Oh man, the bottom one is not going into the hole. It's interesting. Sorry, I know you guys can only really see my fat hands. It was incredible. It was so good. We were sitting in the car in the parking lot. I looked to see what was around, and I saw it had really good reviews. And I basically went inside, and I knew I was getting fish because, I mean, the place is called Baja Fish. And I asked the guy that worked there, I said, if you were here and this was your first time and you wanted fish tacos, what would you get? And he like put his hand on his heart and said the beer battered tacos, or whatever the other name was for them. And God, he didn't disappoint. Okay, that should be good. I mean, it's in plenty tight. I'm looking and there's still a little bit of a gap, but it's not going anywhere. And I really don't want to torque too hard on the plastic because these are self-tapping plastic screws. Like, I just don't want to put too much force into the plastic part. And considering it's just an end stop, I mean, as long as it's not moving, we're gonna be fine. So that is in place. Evening, morning. Hey, Eggy's in the house. What is going on? Oh, you've got the LGX on your 2.4. Nice. How does it compare to the what is it? The full-size AfterBurner that it normally has? Like, have you noticed? I guess one, have you noticed quality improvements, or you know, playing around with different materials? Does it just seem like it extrudes more consistently, or like what's? Because there's so many, like, there's a lot of kind of quality extruders out there now, which is awesome. I mean, the extruders have gotten, we went from like having little to nothing to now we've got Bontecs and we've got Chimeras, and I personally like the Micro Swisses a lot on the Crealities. And then these Voron ones are awesome. Then there's LDO has got their Orbiter extruder. Like, there's just a lot more options than there ever was before. Okay, so these are done. Next is the Z Endstop, which I do believe, oh, cool. I don't have to take the lever off. It's already off. The only thing that's a little bit funky is that the, I'll just show you guys this. So for the LDO kit, the wires are crimped, but they didn't actually put the plug on, and I'm not sure why, because if you're gonna have to adjust the length, you're gonna have to recrimp it anyway. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove this. Maybe it's that way you can feed it through the back panel. I don't know. We'll leave the, I guess we'll leave the plug off for right now. Just don't lose it because, well, I've got spares, but if you don't have spares, definitely put it somewhere you'll find it. And then we are going to take this printed piece. If you are sourcing yourself, you'll have to remove the little arm. You just want the actual switch underneath it. I had an easier time with TPU. I missed some chat and I apologize. I had an easier time with TPU. You know what? I know what's off about the stream today. I didn't pop out chat, so I can only see what's live on the screen. Give me 1 sec, guys. I'm gonna say it at the beginning because I never do. If you have not, please hit the like button. Also, thank you for the recommendation of putting this on the main channel as a recommended channel. That's something I should have done. Hey, Pie's here. I showed off your the screwdrivers you sent, man. Thank you very much. I'm actually using one right now. I used them a ton last night on a project I was working. They've been awesome. Let's see. Did you name your Discord pin slightly? I had an easier time with TPU and LGX. There's also some Bontic gear meshing issues, which can cause a wood grain pattern. Doesn't affect all gear sets though. Interesting. But the LGX doesn't have that issue. About Marcus Swiss and Crowdy, I've been through the Bowden all metal from them. I got stringing with the same settings. They can't fix it. Any idea about the problem? Not offhand, man. Other than if it's all metal, other than making sure everything's seated correctly, not really. No, at least not offhand. Yes, because you need to feed through the panel. I've seen from other builders. Okay, cool. I will leave it as is then. I prefer the LGX over the standard AfterBurner. It just seems more solid mounted and my layer lines are more consistent. Gotcha. That's good enough reason for me. Okay, so we are going to, again, be installing this guy. So we've got our printed part, and I'm gonna make sure I've got the orientation correct, like that. And then we want the clicker on the outside. Cool. Okay, so it's gonna be, if you can see it, like this. What is my orientation? Look weird. This needs to be like outward more. And then we're gonna use the exact same self-tapping screws, 2 of them. Let's get one of them going. It was kind of cool. LDO actually reached out to me on Discord asking if they could use these live streams in their install or like in their docs for people. And I said, yeah, absolutely. If it helps others, then totally. That should be plenty tight. Yeah. The gears and the LGX are larger. And if it is present, it is much. Gotcha. Waiting for my orange LDO kit. Nice. Looking at getting my V0 off family from Santa. Nice, man. Upgrade the cooling for the stock intercooling. Yeah, I looked at it and it is. I maybe would go direct drive, hoping that it'll fix it. Yeah, I mean, direct drive definitely, like in general, I have less issues with stringing because of the fact that, wait, so you're using Bowden? Yeah, I haven't ran, other than on the, other than on my Ender 3 my original Ender 3 from years ago, and the CR6 SC, every time I've installed the micro Swiss, I've always gone direct drive. I also agree with the inappropriate fresh Bowden couplers and PTFE would also be something that's pretty cheap and simple just to swap out. We'll be following them videos then. Awesome, cool, Carl. Well, I hope you get it from Santa, man, because that's definitely an awesome gift. Okay, so this looks like the 2 M3 nuts are dropped in from the top. Use a 2mm ball head. Oh, okay. Simple enough. Let's see, can I show you guys this somehow? What is the easiest way to show you guys? Okay, so let's try unbox cam. Basically, yeah, you can see this. So it looks like the Z, let me make sure I'm doing it right. Yep. So we're gonna drop in 2 of the M3 nuts into this rail on the inside right here. And so those 2 M3 nuts will then bolt to this, and then we will tighten this in place, and we'll be able to adjust this later if we need to. So I thought we were done with the M3 nuts, to be perfectly honest with you. M3. We're definitely getting low on the M3 nuts. We've used a lot of them. Question, I have a small fan blowing towards my direction. Can you guys hear it or is it too loud? I meant to ask that way earlier. What is it? It wants us to use M3 by 10s. I actually think what I'm going to do is, watch. I don't know if this will work, but we'll try it because I think it's going to be easier mobile. Just in 3D. Hello. Cool. Can't hear the fan good. So it wants us to preload. It wants us to preload 2 of these nuts and then take the M3x10s, which is totally fine. But my only concern is that some of these are kind of loose and I don't want them to slide down to the bottom. So I'm gonna grab a couple M3x10 screws, see if I can't loosely put it on the end stop and then slide it down and clamp it after. Let's see. Let's try it. Yeah, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna just try to feed these in like so. And then do like maybe 1 or 2 turns. I don't see why this wouldn't work. It's what I normally do with like typical T-nuts. You know what, I don't even need to use, now I'm thinking about it, I don't need to use the nut traps if I'm doing it this way. So let's take these out, just do directly the squares. Freaking fat finger in it, there we go. Yeah, I can't see why that won't work. And so then now we should be able to go switch cams and hopefully just drop this in. Maybe. Yeah. Cool. I think that's easier. And then it would have helped if I grabbed the right driver. And right now I'm just, doesn't say the gap, about 2 millimeters below the end of the extrusion. Okay, so I'm just going to guess 2 millimeters. We can always adjust this later if we need to. I realize this is not the best camera angle for you guys. Some of these shots are really hard to get once we get inside the Voron later in the build. And then we're gonna try to do the same for the bottom. Playing Uno with my 8-year-old while we both watch. Awesome. What does it have to do with the stringing? Hey, my brother's here. Hey, Nick. Finally got my V0 moving. I didn't realize the AfterBurner motors do actually have a side they should be on. So my motors were backwards. Oh, man. Yeah, I had to do some swapping around too with my on the first Voron, so we'll see how this goes. Okay, cool. This is mounted in place. Hopefully you guys can see that. Yeah, you guys can see that. This gray piece right here. My kit came with both. It came with both square nuts as well as standard. I chose to go with square nuts for no particular reason other than I used standard nuts on the first build and just figured, let's see how square nuts go, and they've been great. I feel like they're probably easier to slot into these little nut traps just because, I don't know, they're square, so it's just side, but they're also easy to pop out. But yeah, they've been fine. I can't really think of, maybe there's something I'm missing, but to me, either one is fine. I don't know if there's much benefit of one over the other. All right, so end stops are all mounted. We've got X done, Y done, Z done. Now we are going to align the preloaded nuts into the position. So this is for the back panel. Cool, so we're gonna actually drop the printer on its face. Let's do that. Oops, what the? Like so. And I definitely know that these preloaded nuts are not going to be aligned. So let's try to do that. Let's see. I'm just going to match up with the photo here. So this is how, like sliding it from left to right how you'd want it. This little notch on the very top should be like top left. That's where the end stop wire is going to feed in through. There enough of each of if you like. Yeah, I know that it said that it came with both options just based off what you wanted, but I can't think of like, I mean, it's personal preference, but to me they both work exactly the same, so I don't know if there's much benefit of using one over the other. Eggy's having bad Wi-Fi, so you're gonna head off, have fun streaming and building chat. No worries, man. Hope you have a great night. Okay, so we are going to now line up 6. So there's 6 preloaded nuts in here, and we need to line them up with, it looks like top, middle, bottom. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I'm just going to attempt to do this. I don't want to break this. Let's use a cheap. God, these freaking lock nuts or these nut traps are incredibly stuck. So I'm just right now going to keep sliding this in. Okay, so the bottom ones are pretty good. Let's move this one down a hair. Okay, bottom ones are good. Middle ones are not even close. Okay, getting closer. This one needs to go a hair further down. All right, so we've got bottom ones lined up, middle ones lined up, top ones need to go further up. And this one needs to go a little bit further up. Cool, that looks good enough. The only thing, okay, pull the end stop wires, plural, through the notch in the top. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this one. Wiring is going to be a bit different for me this time because I use the umbilical cord mod on the first build. So it looks like it's saying all the end stop cables should be going through that notch, which is interesting. Let's see, let's see. Oh no, it says notch for Z end stop wires. No, pull the end stop wires to the opening in the panel. Okay, so just the Z. Cool, okay. Don't, false alarm. So we've got, let me make sure this is looks a little bit interesting. Oh, there we go. Cool, okay. Sliding this panel on. Why is it not? Why is it not going through? It's got to be those motor wires, but let me see. How can I, maybe if I go from left side? Or from right side, I guess it would be. There we go. Okay, end stop wires are through. Is missing stuff. Do you use a HEPA for your studio? I don't use a HEPA for my studio, but I absolutely should and need to. So studio is living room, which I'm sure you know if you've been hanging out here for a while. Luckily though, we have an insane amount of windows. There's a patio sliding door that's normally open. There's also a front window and another front window right here. So I get a pretty insane cross breeze through here. You can actually pull the wire after you install the panel. Now you tell me average. It's all right, at least I got it through. But yeah, it definitely seemed going from the right side inward was easier to pop that, pop those cables through. But yeah, I probably should get some kind of a filtration system, and I definitely think, so we need M3x6s. I definitely think that once we move, which is a ways away from now, or at least isn't up until August of 2022, then I'm going to try to set things up more appropriate. I think Uncle Jesse got a pretty awesome filter, if I remember correctly, from Costco, I believe. So we're gonna use 6 M3x6s to attach this panel in place. Try to center it as much as possible. I'm just gonna loosely put them in until they all align correctly. I almost bought, well, I don't have a Costco membership, but I was really tempted when he showed off the one that he got, because he does a ton of resin printing. Luckily, I don't do nearly as much resin printing, but still, like, regardless, like, I do enough printing of sorts where if I can have something to help with the air quality, I don't think it's going to be a bad thing. But this is at least a much better setup than I've had in the past. Like, previously where the printers have been like my one little room. Like when I first started 3D printing and doing all the YouTube stuff, it was just all my bedroom with one crappy window. So we've definitely improved. We went from crappy to, you know, a little bit better at least as far as making sure I'm in a ventilated area. But I also have since then, like back then I was pretty much PLA. Granted, my first filament I ever used was ABS, but I'm experimenting with more materials now for my own projects and for the channel, so it's kind of, I think, more important now. Hopes that you just put it off because I don't want to crimp for over a month. It's laying around here. I got a pretty overkill one for parts on eBay. Oh, nice. Yeah, there's definitely some easy, like, I mean, again, I think that since I've started playing around with, when I used to mess with broken game consoles, now printers, it's given me like less fear of ripping things open and trying to fix them, even if I don't exactly know what I'm doing. And with most things, it's not, you know, there's not a ton dangerous. Like I'm not working with high voltage. And so, you know, a combination of just searching online, whether it's YouTube or forums, you can find a lot of ways to fix things. And so a long time ago, I did something similar where I bought like this $300 swamp cooler for parts. And I think I got it for 40 bucks. And it was basically just the sensor that goes on when the water level is low was defective. And so I tried fixing the sensor, which I couldn't do. And so I just bypassed the sensor, and then I just made sure that, you know, I set reminders basically on when to fill it up, so that way the pump or system wouldn't run dry on it. So, okay, cool. So we are done. We're actually done with the end stops and back panel, and we're on the mini afterburner now. So for this, I think I'm going to move away the printer, so that way we've got a better view and I'm not working for weird camera angles. And then I did get most of the parts out for this already, which is nice. Whew. Okay. So, mini afterburner. I didn't do, man, throat. I didn't do any of the heat inserts because I wanted to do all that stuff on stream. So let's go ahead and let's grab those parts. So this is one of them. This is another one of them. Oh, there's a lot. No. Heat inserts on those guys. 1 and 2. Is there anything else? That looks like it's it. Okay. Yeah, there's a big old section. Once we get through the mini afterburner, pretty sure it's just wiring. So this is like the final big thing. All right, so let's go ahead and do, I don't know what camera's better. Let's do side cam. Yeah. So we'll move this closer. Let me grab the soldering iron. I still have it down below from last stream. All right. Dog hair all over, gross. Okay. Oops. Why is it tangled? Here we go. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and turn this on. Let's also put some stuff back. I have a tendency to pull out all the drawers. Inserts are where? Brass heat inserts. There we are. All right, so starting off, we will do this piece, and there are basically these little pegs that stick off, and so you want to insert them into those pegs, but from the back side. So we'll flip it over, and there's 1 and 2. So we'll do these first. It's so hard to see if they're flush from a bird's eye view. That should be good. It's funny that they like to press out a little bit after. I think that's pretty good. There's a little bit of actually, let me go in a hair further. That looks pretty good. There's a little bit of melted ABS on the, kind of like the outer rim area of this. I may end up trying to scrape that just so that way it's flush. I don't want any issues. But we'll put these off to the side for right now. And then so next we're gonna grab this little guy, and we are going to insert it into the one hole in here. If you rub it with the flat side of tweezers, helps it lay flat. Why can't I picture what you're saying? Rub it with the flat side of tweezers. This one I'm going to just hold in my hand because it's kind of awkward, but be careful. Be careful not to burn yourself. It's not fun. Cool, that one was easy. Okay, and then these two we actually need to install one on each end. And it should be easier this time. The first time I did this, it sucked. The reason for it was, again, I had the wrong sized heat inserts, and so it was collapsing these parts. I'm gonna recommend probably doing one, then jumping the other one and doing one, and then going back, just so that way it gives it a little bit of time to cool. So we'll just go ahead and place you in here. Try to go straight down. pretty damn good. That's fine. I'm not gonna overdo this. These guys are kind of delicate little pillars. Ah. Oh, like a deep, gotcha. Hey, Lisa. Yeah, it popped out a little bit. There we go. Beautiful. That one went in really well. Luckily, I think because I'm doing this on marble, it's like, it's helping remove the heat because the marble is so cold. Yeah, that's good. We're good on that. Yeah, the LDO did. I used my scraper, large flat, sinks the heat back up fairly quickly as well. After you push the heat insert in, rub it with the flat side of tweezer. It makes the insert. Oh, gotcha. I actually don't have. I don't know. I lost my tweezers the other day. I was working on a project and Erin came home and I was using her like tweezers for her eyebrows or whatever. So I gotta order some freaking tweezers. But yeah, I do have the tool. I mentioned in an earlier stream that this particular soldering iron doesn't take, it takes proprietary tips. So it doesn't work. Yeah, Nick said it right there. Yeah, that specific iron uses proprietary tips. I love that iron, but it doesn't work for things like that. And so there's a little bit, you can't see it super well, but there's a little bit of ABS that kind of is in the chamber, at least on one of these, or inside that cavity. So I'm just gonna grab a random M3 screw. Let's grab like an M3 by 40. And I'm just going to quickly thread it in to push out that little bit of plastic and make sure that there's no issues. I had a couple instances on the first build where I got some plastic in the brass insert threads and it made threading screws in later on an absolute nightmare. So yeah, that's good. I actually think that's gonna be totally fine. We're gonna leave it. We're gonna leave it as is. Okay. So. Okay, so we've done that, we've done that, we've done that. We need to do this. Lubricate bearings. The lubrication film is required to ensure smooth operation. Refer to the bottom. Is there lubrication in this? Or maybe they are pre-lubricated? Does anyone know if, I forgot to put the ground wire on my bed. Oh no. Does anyone know if these are pre-lubricated, the bearings for this? I don't know whether they are. If not, I'm definitely going to use something. I've got some super lube. We'll put a little bit of super lube on here. Add lube to them. Okay, cool. I'm just going to drip a little bit and then my hands are going to be covered in lube for the rest of this build. I'm just gonna actually lube the rail, I think more so than the actual bearings itself, and then place the bearings on the rail. Actually, I lied. I'm gonna drip a little bit into each of these bearings. So anyways, what we're doing, for anyone that is watching this after the fact, is these little bearings right here and this little metal rail, we're adding a little bit of lubricant to them. I put some on the rail itself, but I'm actually gonna put a couple drips into the bearings. I think I'd rather over lubricate them since they are going to be spinning anytime filament's extruding. I wanna make sure that they've got enough. So I'm just gonna go ahead and drip a little bit of this inside. It's more than enough. It ran right through onto my hand, and then we'll do the same with the other. Perfect. All right, so then we're gonna slide these onto the little rail. And we are going to insert them so there's two gears. One of the gears has a little hole for the actual grub screw, the set screw, and then the other one does not, and that's the one that does not is the one we're going to insert this through. Like so. And then I need paper towels because I've got, oh, actually, there's a t-shirt. Now there's a lube all over. All right. That's good to know. I don't actually know that I lubed, I must have, but I don't recall lubing the bearings on my other build. All right, so we got that. Then we're going to be grabbing this little printed piece, and we are going to snap this into place. So orientation-wise, we want this like holding it like this. So this part is on the right and upward. And then we are going to make sure that the teeth are on the right side and that the filament path is on the left side. Just center it and it should, make sure it's in snap in place. Yeah. Cool. Easy peasy. It does have a big thing also that has you basically check that. Oh, great, now I've got super lube on my mouse. Cool, so we've got that. Check the short end of the shaft. Okay, so someone told me, depending on which of these gears you get and which of these like kits you go with, whether you self-source or not, that you might have to sand it down. I had to sand it on my first build, and I don't believe I have to on this build, but let me see. Yes, I don't. So let me show this. So this is the part, and depending on like the first kit or the first Voron 0 that I built, I didn't go with the LDO kit. I ordered this, and I believe that for the LDO kit they use authentic Bondtech parts. I did not on the first build. They were from Triangle Labs, and so you basically want to make sure that this end post is not over 3 millimeters, and it is exactly 3 millimeters on here, so we're good to go. But if it's not, you will have to sand this end piece down to make sure it's no longer than 3 millimeters. They do have a, in the STLs that are included for the Voron 0, they have a little like tool that you can pop on this and sand it down, and that tool is 3 millimeters thick, so you'll know like when you've hit the correct thickness. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't necessarily tough to sand, but also wasn't very fun, so I'm glad that we don't have to do that. So let's see, check, so we're good on that. Check bearing fit. The bearings must slip on and off of the shaft. So we've got 2 bearings which I'm imagining that these will be totally fine again because we haven't done any sanding. I think the main reason why you're checking is if you have to sand it, then you might have a little bit of roughness, but we're basically just gonna pop one on this side, which it should slide right on, slide right off. Yeah, it's loose fit, which is what we want. Then we'll try it on the other side. Other side is not a loose fit. Why is that? Bearings will slip on and off easily allowed. Do not shim into position. Press the bearings on the shaft will damage them. Lightly sand. Interesting. It is not. I was not anticipating having to sand this. Basically, you want these to just slide on fairly easily, and it slides on really easily to the outside, but on the inside's not the case. It's a little bit. It says, "Do not shim into position. Pressing the bearing on the shaft will damage them." I don't know. It feels like it definitely needs some press to get on, but I still feel like that's probably okay. It's not a terrible, like, I think basically what it's getting at is, it's like once it's on, it's smooth. It's just on the very end. Basically what they're getting at is like you don't want to damage the bearings. So if for some reason you're really having to brute force these things on, you can damage them, but it's just on the very end on mine. So I'm probably going to leave it. Yeah, there's like, I mean, the ends on both of them have like a slight chamfer to them, but I don't really understand. Like it must just have a hair bit of thickness in the end, but we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna leave it like that because I just don't think, based off of how I'm feeling it, like once it gets past that point, it's fine. Okay, cool. G Funny is saying I had to push mine on, so I think we're fine. It's just that if it's like really aggressive, then that's problematic for the bearings because you could damage the sides, and you'd want to get some kind of sandpaper and sand it down. And then it's saying to place the bearing inside of here, so we'll go ahead and do that. Which that's the same piece that we just added the heat inserts to. So we're gonna go ahead and press this into the hole, which hopefully might fit right in. A little bit of thumb pressure. I wish I had. I'm actually going to use some cloth on my thumb to help me push it in a little bit more. I wish I had. I don't even have a mallet. I was just thinking the other day it'd be nice to have a mallet for some of these things that need to get pressed in. Although for bearings, I don't recommend applying that kind of force, but that should be good. I think that once we clamp everything in, it will press the rest of the way in. So, but that's basically, hey, Jason's here from LDO. How's it going? You basically just want to get that bearing in as far as you possibly can, and it does take a bit of press. Also, depending on how you printed, I might have had the nozzle a hair bit too close to the bed, and so that could be causing a little bit of that extra material on the outside. But I still think we're going to be fine. I could also deburr it slightly, but we're going to leave it for now. I think we're going to be good. Music ended. We start with the chill music and then we go to like the 8-bit retro stuff. Okay, let's see, 7mm of PTFE should stick out of the bottom of the parts. Okay. So I have a question since Jason's actually here, and for everybody else. The one thing that I did not do on my first Voron build was drill out the filament paths. And so it's my understanding that basically this bit is to be fed down here and just hand turn to basically clear out the pathway. Is that correct, or? If anybody knows, let me know. Otherwise, I might leave it. I didn't drill it out on the first Voron build and it was fine, but it looks like this is basically to help make sure that your filament path is clear for the extruder. The driver bit, yes, drill out the path. Okay. All right, I'm just gonna do it with my hand because I don't think it shouldn't require very much. Maybe I will have to drill it. No, it's gone. It's gone. I think it's going? Okay, cool. If I had something to clamp onto this, it's funny, it's not. It could be because I just put the super lube on the bearing, but it is not spinning very well with my bare hand. Let me see what I got. It would be really nice to have the correct tool. I've got a powerful wired drill next door that I could grab that seems overkill. In the past, I've just kind of used needle pliers or needle nose, yeah, pliers to kind of grip the end of it and turn it, but I was looking for them and I couldn't find them. Trying to think of what I do have tool-wise. Okay, nope, I got it. I got it. Cool. At least one side I got. It just takes a little bit of time. Oh yeah, there was definitely filament blocking the pathway. Dremel tool. I do have a Black & Decker Dremel tool somewhere. Let me see. Yeah, I might need the Dremel tool actually. Let me see. Oh, no, it's going. I think it's going. It's just, it's playing with me a little bit as far as, chuck in a drill. Yeah, this bottom piece. Let me go next door and see if I've got my little Dremel. I might just do that. Give me 1 second. I almost died. Oh my god, I almost died. There's there's a cable in a very terrible place. I did find my Dremel though, but that was super sketch. Let's see if this will fit. God, that was sketch. Oh no, I don't think it's gonna get tight enough. You know what? I think that if I go from the other side, because we've already got this side through, I might be fine. I think I've seen just little hand adapters that you can use for drill bits for a little cleaning up. Yeah, I need something to clamp this. I almost wonder. God, this is gonna be the death of me. I feel like we're so close too. Like, it's looking pretty damn clean. I just need to get it a couple of turns. I think I've got vice grips next door that I can probably grab and grip this. I'm gonna try that next. I'm gonna go slower this time though, so that way I don't bail out on this cable. One sec, guys. All right, we got monster grips. Yeah, Dustin, you caught us trying to, I don't have anything to get this drill bit through, so I'm hoping that this will clamp well enough where I can. There we go. Okay, cool. Yes. I was trying to get this little drill bit in my hand, and it has not been fun. Cool. I think we're good now. Okay. Have the right tools, because that was probably the most challenging part of the build so far, was just trying to get that little piece through. Well, on the first Voron build that I did not use a bit to clear the path, and although it was fine, it was definitely much trickier to get filament to feed consistently. So I am happy, although again, that took longer than I would have liked. I'm happy that we did that. Yeah, I've got a super powerful drill next door. It's way overkill. And then I grabbed a Dremel earlier and almost fell grabbing it, but it's just, the chuck or the collet for it is too big, so I couldn't get it to clamp down. All right, so now, all right, it says 7 millimeters of PTFE should stick out the bottom of the part. So I'm going to go ahead and, oh, this camera froze. Dude, we are having all sorts of technical difficulties today. deactivate, activate, and we're back. All right. Yeah, I don't know. Does it mention to drill it out? I don't know that it actually says anything about that in the drive gear. I don't see any mention of it, so that's probably why I didn't do it the first time. The only reason why I even thought of doing it this time was when I was looking at the features of the LDO kit, it mentions that it came with a bit to drill out the filament path, so. All right, so let's go side actually, and then I'm going to grab this little X-Acto. We will just cut it as flat as we possibly can. That was not a very good cut. That's pretty good. And then we are going to shove the PTFE tube into the bottom of here. Try to get it as far as I possibly can so it's sitting up there. And then it says we want 7 millimeters sticking out the bottom, so I'm going to do my best to measure it. Let's see. It's more like 6. It's pretty damn close. We'll give it a go for now. If we have to, we've got more PTFE, so I can always adjust it later. PTFE cut. Oh, it's not for the Dragonfly? Do you know what the difference is for the Dragonfly? I guess once I install it, I can probably take it out if I have to. LSC, sorry for, you were up early, man. I saw you in Discord way earlier today. Okay, so next, drive gears mounted opposite. Okay, so next we're gonna grab that same part. We are going to take the gear that we checked and we are going to feed it through. Okay. All right, so we're gonna take the same piece we just had. We're gonna take this gear that we checked to make sure that the bearings fit on the shaft a moment ago. We're gonna slot it in, and this little raised portion should sit flush within this section right here. And then we are going to take the other gear for the extruder, and we are going to slide it. Again, the grub screw, or the set screw, we want it aligned with the flat portion of the shaft, so do your best to do that. And then I'm going to grab, we need a set screw actually, let's see. Is this the set screw? Yes. These are small. Is this even the right? I don't think this is the right. No, that's probably the right size. Let's see. Come on, shaky hands. Yeah, that is correct. Okay. It's gonna be a little bit hard to turn like the other ones too because they have the Loctite already preloaded. LSC says, let's smash the like. Yeah, please. Smash the like. All right, so what we're gonna do is insert it so that way the actual I guess, geared portion, or the part with the teeth, is on the outside. And then I'm going to line up the set screw with the flat portion as much as I possibly can. Where is it? Like so. Actually, it's too tight now. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna try to show this as good as I possibly can. It's kind of tough. Maybe it's easier to show after the fact. Yeah, let me show you after the fact. Let me tighten this first. Let's see. Okay, that should be good. So the main thing that we want is on this gear, there is this little, God, what's the right word? Pathway, or this little cutout, or this groove, indent. That needs to be lined as much as you possibly can with where the filament path is gonna be. So you wanna make sure that, like, if I have some filament, where is my clippers? So we basically want to make sure that when filament feeds through, it is in alignment with those teeth. So that way it passes through, if it passes through. There we go. There, but basically you want it where that little, I don't know what the word is, the chamber or the pathway that's cut out. And so it shows you on here, it shows you right here, check that the drive gear is mounted opposite of how it usually mounted in an extruder, which is fine. Basically, the teeth outward, and then the little pathway for the filament needs to be in alignment. It kind of shows it right here, like this is in alignment. I like to use a 1.5 hex. It is a bit stiffer. Oh, interesting. Groove. Yeah, I mentioned earlier, I was up super late working on this guy, this B1 IDEX conversion that we talked about like a week or so ago, and boy, has it been anything but a smooth experience so far. Yeah, actually, let me grab an actual, nope, that's too big. I really want to make sure this gear is tight. There we go. You guys can't see what I'm doing. There we go. Just making sure it's nice and tight. You don't want this slipping. But yeah, it's been a journey so far. I'm waiting on BQ or Big Q Tech to get back to me about some of the firmware stuff that's going on. Okay, cool. We're done on that. Done with that. Next, it is the fans. And so the fans are kind of interesting, and I'll show you what I mean by that. But basically, this wire path right here, originally I had the wires from this fan and the side blower fan feeding up and over through here. And I had all sorts of issues with this fan's wires getting pinched, and in some cases, like actually exposing the wire itself. And so I do it a little bit different. I actually have the wire from this fan not fed through this and just kind of go out the side. I'll show you versus telling you. But let's see. So let's grab the actual main housing for the mini afterburner. Yeah, well, it's not the IDEX that's making it a problem. It's just the firmware that BQ has and their lack of instructions. When I flash the firmware, the screen no longer is able to connect to the board. So I'm not sure whether my B1 is an early version and they changed the board, or whether their instructions are so unclear that part of the requirements is you have to board swap to a different board. Like, it's just, that's what's throwing me off. But like, I have this WeDo IDEX printer, which I haven't used in quite a while, but it's been really good. BQ doesn't have power? That's crazy. Okay, so we got this, we've got fans. There are 3 fans. So we will start off with the heatsink fan. Airflow. Okay, so you want the, you want to make sure you install them obviously the correct way. And so the actual rotating part of the fan needs to be facing forward. And to install it is really simple. It basically just slots on the very top. If I can do this, then it should snap down. Yep, just snaps in place like that. And then these are actually way thinner wires than the ones that my first. So inside, I'm trying to think if there's an easy way to show you guys this. Inside of here, there's a little cavity for wires to go through. And my issue with my first Voron was that these wires, when I put them in here and I inserted a blower fan on the right side, kept pinching these wires. So what I did was I just didn't go through that little passageway or chamber, pathway. I don't know why I'm using words that don't make sense. But I'm like kind of wondering if I should try it with this, because these are way thinner wires, so they might actually work. Yeah, I'm gonna try it. Okay, so I'm gonna pop this back out. I'm going to get these wires out of this little clip, so that way they're like that. Then we'll go ahead and pop it back in. And then I'm going to attempt actually, maybe I shouldn't have popped them out of that clip. Let me see if I can get these fed, and I'll try to show you guys kind of how I'm routing them. Yeah, I guess that works. So I am pushing, no, this is near impossible to show you guys. But I'm trying to push them into the little pathway, which if you have this part in front of you, it'll make a lot more sense with what I'm trying to say, but it's very tricky to show. So let me grab one of these. Why? Why do they have these 2 fans connected to each other? I guess it probably doesn't matter, but it's a little bit odd. Anyways, blower fan, also the actual spinning portion of the fan needs to be facing the outside, and then of course you want the entranceway where the air is going to be blowing out to go downward. Lisa says you may need a flash screen firmware. I had that problem. So I did flash the firmware multiple times last night. I found a separate post where it said that I had to flash it with something that made it compatible with RepRap firmware, and I tried that, and it still isn't working. And I'm not saying, like, I don't have any doubt that it's probably a simple solution, just though there's no instructions, and I spent hours, like I think I started installing it at like 8 or 9 o'clock, and I didn't go to bed till 2, but when I finally threw in the towel, giving up for the night, and it definitely needs some better documentation. So for this fan, I'm going to take the cables and I'm going to run them up the side, try to keep them in place best I can, and over the top. So that way it'll go into this little this little cutout. So let me see if I can do this, and then I'll show you, hopefully. I'm trying to align the other fan as well so it doesn't get pinched. I wish it was easier to show this. It's just so, it's such a tricky thing to capture. Okay. I think we've got it. We'll see. We will see. The other side is a piece of cake. The other side just pops right in, but yeah, that right side always kind of throws me off. I still don't feel like I'm very happy with it. Gotcha. I'm actually curious, for anyone that's done the Voron V0, did you also run this fan up through that little cavity, or did you just have it run off to the side? Because my concern is damaging the wires on it. Let me check it one more time. It doesn't seem like it was damaging the wires. They don't. The cables that LDO used for, or these fans that they sourced, use way thinner cables, which seems to be working in its favor. Yep, we're just gonna leave it like that. It's good. Yeah, I guess again, the wiring on this is way different than the wiring on the one I did, because I used the umbilical cord mod or whatever. So it just feels weird to me, the way these cables are gonna be routed, but we'll do it like this. Cool. I ran the fan through the side. The rotation I put it in makes it easy. Okay. Yeah, what I was messing around with, guys, is, again, I'll show you, let me see if I can zoom in a hair on this to show a little bit closer. So on this printed part, like on this side, it's easy because it's just a solo fan and the wire pops out right here, so you don't have to worry about it. But this fan, the wire for it needs to, according to this, be ran along this little pathway and then up the top over this blower fan. And on this blower fan, its wires also need to be run through that pathway. And so the issue I ran into on my first build was the wires for this fan were fatter than they are in the LDO one. And so when I pushed the blower fan in, it actually pinched those wires, and it damaged my first fan. I was having issues with it kind of cutting in and out. But because it uses smaller wires for this build, it seems like it's much easier to fit it in place. So hopefully I won't, eat my words when we actually power it on and there won't be issues, but that's kind of what I was messing around with right now since I couldn't show you. I run it to the top side. That is a better idea. I feel like I've got it seated quite well to where we are just gonna leave it, but that does make sense as well. What Average is saying is that, oops, wrong cam. Okay, is that instead of having it on the bottom like that, if you have this, like if you rotate this fan so that this portion's on the top, it has less of like a pathway that you have to shove it into and have it travel. I don't think LDO has a 2.4 yet, but I do believe that it's more than just a rumor, like it's coming. Okay. All right. Zoom back out. Okay, fans are done. Guide the wires into the highlighted path, which is exactly what we were just doing. Okay, now it's time to install the hot end. So let's see how this goes. I know that, was it Pi? Somebody in chat said that, yeah, I have the wire pointed towards the channel. Yeah, I probably should have done that. I just don't want to keep taking it in and out because I feel like I've got it seated well, but I do think that also is a good idea. So someone said earlier, and I apologize, I don't remember who, that the length I cut this PTFE for, which was 7mm, isn't necessarily for the Dragonfly. So we might have to cut this. We might have to cut this again at some point, but I'm hoping that's not the case. So let's go ahead and take out, it's a little bit of a mess right now. Wish I can clean up a little bit for you guys. I feel like we've done such a good job of having a clean workspace up until today. Trash, 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 trash. We don't need this anymore. X-Acto can go over here, and this can go over here, and this can go back there. All right, that looks a little better. Okay, so let's take out the Dragonfly. And the nozzle. And the tools. Okay, so we need to take out, we need to take off the groove mount, and I don't think, I think I checked, and I'm not sure if the wrenches they include are the correct size. They're not. I did, so I actually loosened it before stream because I was checking it out. I was really like curious to see how this hot end worked, but there's a little flat end on both sides of this groove mount, and so you just need to take a little flathead or a spanner wrench into there and turn it, and so that way this will loosen and we can remove this because we're gonna be bolting it instead of using the groove mount. And then although I'm gonna be using a different nozzle eventually, I'm gonna actually throw in one of the diamond tip nozzles that I got sent in. We'll use the stock nozzle for now just because I'm attempting to use the kit as is, at least initially. And I think that their little wrench, huh, they don't even have a wrench for the nozzle? That's odd to me. Huh, do I even have? These all look way too small. But I do have, one sec. I got this from Build Tag years ago. 6mm, okay. It's all next door. This should fit. It's a little bit gross. There we go. Yeah. There we go. I will probably tighten it more once it's heated up, but this will work. This thing's cool. This, I don't know if they ever released it or not, but it was like a pre-release from BuildTak, and it's a like just tool that has a, you know, brush, nozzle changing thing, bottle opener, because that's, you've got to have one of those. I believe the guide for the Dragon hotend was for the Dragon hotend. It had a shorter PTFE compared to Dragonfly. Gotcha. Okay. Well, I'm definitely maybe tightening it in. Inappropriate makers. How old am I? I'm 29 years old. I turned 29 September 30th. Okay. So I'm assuming we should probably install all of the like the thermistor and heater cartridge right now. So let's do that. Does it matter? The only thing I don't know, does it matter what size it comes, or what side it comes out on? Also, my block is crooked. Why is that? Try something. Why is that? Does anyone know? The it looks like based off of the screws on top that the heater block is actually crooked. And I don't is the heat brake just threaded on this? Because like I'm thinking, one second here, if I back out the heat brake ever so slightly, I can thread this in a bit more. That doesn't seem right to me though. Heat brake should go in all the way. Let's see here. Actually, hey Jared. The bottle opener is the flange pulleys. Oh, interesting. Yeah, the one thing that's thrown me off, because I've never used this hotend before, is that when the heat brake is threaded all the way in and tightened, it's crooked. Like, is it bad if I back off the heat brake a hair? Like that, and then tighten the nozzle up against it? It just feels off to me. Damn it, Jared. Yes, it's threaded, and now it's like V6. Heat brake pressed against nozzle. Okay, gotcha. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna do then. Cool. If that's the case, what LSE is saying, then I should be fine. Cool. So all I did was I loosened the heat brake like, I don't know, a quarter turn, and then turned the nozzle in about a quarter more. So that way it's straight, because I just noticed that it was crooked. And that won't do. So we're good on that. Okay. It's interesting. It's just weird. I haven't used one of these before, and so it's kind of like a whole new world for me. And as far as the thermal grease, is that for the thermistor. And is it, I'm not gonna, we're just gonna install it. And then as far as, let's see, how did I do it on this one? Right side. Okay. So nozzle needs to be facing downwards. Really? Put thermal grease? I put the heater on the right and the thermistor on the left. Then I have only the heater wire out on the right and the rest on the left. Interesting. How does that work with the, oh, I guess it does work with this. I've always done them both on the same side. Oh, okay, gotcha. It's if you have a bead type. Yeah, I was gonna say, I've never used thermal grease on, cool, we're not gonna do it then. We're just gonna go, thermistor is going in. And then we are going to be grabbing, do my best to center it. Am I? Okay. Okay, that's in. I don't like to over tighten the thermistors. It's common, you need to work more on printers. I mean, most of the, like, I guess as of late, I've been keeping more things stock, if you will, like when I'm testing them out. And then also, yeah, I don't know, I just tripped me out. All right, and then the heater cartridge is kind of fat for the heater block, so I'm just gonna have it stick out evenly on both sides as much as I possibly can. Let's go ahead and do that. And then that one I will tighten down a bit more. I definitely don't want the heater cartridge to slide out, and it's also not nearly as sensitive. Although the thermistors aren't that sensitive, because the cartridge type to me is way less sensitive, I feel, than the bulb type. All right. So next thing we're going to do is actually bolt this guy in here. How did I... Why is the routing of the cables feeling really weird to me? Oh, I'm checking my other one for reference. Okay. All right, so we will use and mod it some more. Nothing wrong with stock. Nope, mod it till they break. Yeah, I have such mixed feels about it because I love modding stuff. I mean, the channel is called Modbot. I really do, but there's also a part of me that's like, I appreciate something that works good enough stock as well. I'm debating on at some point here, like starting to sell some things online, like printed parts, and I'm thinking about doing it completely stock. I actually reached out to Prusa just yesterday, seeing if there was interest in having a Prusa Mini kind of like showcased on the channel, or like some kind of a review type thing, because I'm really interested, based off of everyone I know that owns them that said such good things about them, just having a stock printer that does automatic bed leveling, has a flex plate system, all metal hot end. Like at that price point, it just seems really attractive to me. But like, again, I love modding printers, and I think that like for like the hobbyist, enthusiast side of things, like I love it so much, and it's so fun making something better or giving it new features. But from the like, just want the thing to work side of things, I also understand like keeping things stock and just trying to, you know, keep them working. It's worse being a dev, so many mods. What are you a dev for, Jared? Like just, I'm not sure if it's like 3D printing related or not, I guess, kind of. Okay, so we're gonna take, there's technically 4 holes on the top of the heatsink that we can bolt it to, but this mini AfterBurner only takes 2 screws for it, so I'm just going to insert, let me see if I do overhead. Maybe? Yeah, that'll work. Oh my god, really? That's hilarious. Didn't you come? He came in and said, I don't know nothing about Voron. This guy's, I had no idea. Oh my god, so I was talking to LSC yesterday about the 1515 extrusions, and since he asked if I knew anybody from like Voron, and I saw it this morning, I don't think I responded yet, but I don't, other than like, I know Nero does testing as well. So the question that we had is, apparently there's different types of 1515 extrusions, and the ones, these maker beam ones, or the LDO ones, don't, why is this not threading? One second here, I also want to not screw this up. Holy crap, why is that such a... Oh, I am goofing hard right now. I'm getting distracted. These, the screws that come with the hot end are not the screws I should be using. We need M2.5, here we go. I'm using the standard screws, which are way too long. We need M2.5 by 6. So the question that we had was, apparently there's different 1515 extrusions, and I ordered some drop-in T-nuts for 1515 extrusions, but of course they're not compatible with these maker beam or LDO ones. And so the question I had was do you know if there's a reason why this style of 1515 was chosen versus ones that could accept drop-in nuts? Like, I would imagine there has to be a reason for it. I just don't know what that reason is. If you don't know the answer, that's totally fine. Just because you're here and that we were just talking about it yesterday. Okay, M2.5 by 6. I've never used the Galileo. There is a EU profile and a everybody else. Okay, gotcha. No worries. I wonder if that's the reason why. Maker Beam uses 80/20 15%, but for European V slot allow for T. Yeah, I don't know. We were trying to figure it out, and it puzzled me. I know there has to be a reason, because if it wasn't like cost or accessibility or something like that, then it just wouldn't make any sense to use to make the build more complicated by having to preload everything. So I'm sure there's a reason. We were trying to figure it out. The Galileo, because I mean, little history while Jared's here. The Voron 0 has been my first foray with the Voron project, and I self-sourced my first one, but the Galileo is the that's a Bowden setup, right? If I'm not mistaken. Is that the stock? Is that the stock setup on one of the builds? So I haven't, other than this, and I guess a little bit of the switch wire is kind of the only things I've looked into. Let me loosen this a little. You are mistaken. What oh, it's similar to the orbiter. Oh wow, okay, so yeah, I was way off. Is that, God, this is not wanting to go in. Is that setup stock on any of the Voron builds, or is that like a mod of sorts? Based on the same parts for now. I've definitely heard of it, I just don't know of it. Not stock, easy mod though. Gotcha. I gotta look into it then. That's awesome. Woo. All right, hotend is officially in. It's a tiny bit crooked still, which is gonna bug me a hair, but actually, I'm gonna try my best to straighten it out just because we're here, might as well do it right. Yeah, it's just a hair. Is most of the, it's a monitor, LDO makes a kit with everything but the printed parts as well. Oh, interesting. There's so much, like, it's funny because so many people say, like, I know 3D printing, like, there hasn't been much going on, or like it's kind of boring right now. Like, at least I've seen a lot of that, which I haven't felt that way at all. But I will say, like, once I found everything going on with like Voron, it like opened up a whole new world. There's just so many different things of like printers to build, mods to do. Like, I feel like I've just gotten a surplus of awesome things to do and work on and learn. Oh, come on. All right, that is as straight as I am going to be getting this. There we go. All right, we'll throw the silicone sock back on for now. It looks pretty damn cool. This is the first time I've used the Dragonfly, or it's a pretty sleek looking, hot end. Thought about running the LGX on my 2.4, the clockwork on one of my E5. The clockwork is a Bowden setup. It's gotta be, because the mini pocket watch, or the mini, it's gotta be the only limit in Voron's budget. That's with 3D printing in general. I guess budget a bit more so though, because you know, a lot of the printers, like this is definitely more in the premium side of things compared to a lot of the lower cost printers that we've, at least that I've covered on the channel. The LGX has had some issues with their SL. It's SLS, right? I think it's SLS that they use. The gears on the speakers, I remember. M4 is the Bowden, the clockwork is this time. Oh my gosh. Okay. I need to build one of the bigger. So as far as the AfterBurner, is that what's used on every other Voron pretty much? Like the Switchwire and the 2.4 and the Trident? There's the stock AfterBurner clockwork. Okay. There should be a flowchart. That would be super handy. Okay, let's move a little bit forward. We did not show the heater, the temperature sensor in the drawing. Install them prior to assembling the tool head. Oh, cool. Glad we did that. Tool heads other than hotend included in the release step files, we should be good. Orientation, you basically just want to make sure the nozzle is closest, like inside, which is fine. Ball and driver, we are done with that. Okay, so next, we're gonna take the other little bearing, this guy, the one that we haven't already inserted, and we are going to insert it into that center portion there. And I know that on my first build, I couldn't get it. I couldn't get it completely flush in there. I got it nearly flush, and then it seemed like once I put everything else together, it sort of worked itself out. So let's see. It's a very tricky, it is a very tricky place to try to put any pressure. I think I used an Allen key across it. Yeah, that is not a fun place to try to get a bearing. Any recommendations on, you know, how to actually? I'm trying to think, do I have anything flat that I could just push down inside of there? Got a massive Allen key I can probably run across it. Let me see if I use this flatter side. Nope, I don't want to damage it. Did you guys use anything to get the, Oh, no, I got it. Okay, cool. Use the cylinder with the heat insert on both ends. Oh, that would have been pretty perfect. I used a fat Allen key, it worked. But yeah, basically it's really tough to use your pinky, or, you know, that's the only thing I've got that I could fit down there. It actually went in way easier than on my first build, so I'm pretty happy about that. Okay, next we are going to grab M3 by 35s. I'll quickly pan over here. We're just going to insert them through. Oops. Get in there. There we go. All right. Then we are going to need to kind of place everything. So we'll do that now. All right, so first thing we're gonna do is grab the other gear piece that we put on, and it's gonna go on the second screw, so not the farthest one here, but the second one. Hopefully it'll slide right through and I won't break this piece. Interesting. I think that from the warping when printing it, the screw normally just slots right through. Shouldn't have to thread it through, but let me get it all the way through and then I'll take a look at it. All right. Anyways, you want to make sure that the gear is obviously facing inward towards where the second gear is going to go. And then this needs to thread a bit more still. Okay, and then we're going to grab this little guy, which we put the heat insert inside of, and we are going to slot it in, I believe, just right here. Yeah, it slots in right up top right here, like that. All right. Next, push drive gear backwards, insert and angle and push into place. Okay, so next we are going to attempt to install this portion, and someone already pointed out that the PTFE length might be incorrect for this particular hot end, so we will see. We'll see how that goes. You basically want that little bit of PTFE to align with the hole where the filament would go into the hot end, so if not, we'll just recut it. Sounds like someone's using power tools outside. Oops, I goofed. This little piece slid out. It actually looks like this is pretty damn perfect for the Dragonfly as well. Let me see here if I can get this. Mine might have been a hair short of 7 millimeters. It might have been more like 6 or 6.5, but it seems like it's pretty perfect. I guess we'll see. Like, let me yeah, it looks pretty dang perfect to me as far as the PTFE coming down, oops, my finger, coming down from here through this little passageway. It looks like it aligns pretty well. You're gonna need a longer PTFE. For this, it looks pretty dang good to me now. I think it's, I think I'm gonna leave it like that. Oh, a Dragonfly actually has a deeper PT. You can try to put one into it. Gotcha, I get what you're saying. So in mine, I could probably press it in even further. Like, I do see like there's a hairline gap between it. But is there much of a, like, I just don't know that there'd be much of an issue. Because like, there's no room, I'm looking right now, and there's no room for the filament to go anywhere but downward into the hot end. I don't see how it could be problematic. I think we're gonna rock with it. What do you guys think? Swap it or leave it? I mean, this is the point where we could swap it out. I just don't see how, like, I don't see how they're really, as long as you, when you insert the filament in, you know, have it cut to like a 45 degree. I think we're gonna run with it. Takes the filament and push it in check. Links aren't allowed in ET. Yeah, it doesn't allow links. Yeah, it's a good idea, Lisa. Let's take some filament and see whether I can kind of feel it going all the way down. I should be able to fairly easily tell by the length. All right, feeding through, stuck, going through, doesn't even want to go past that portion. This might not have been the best filament either. It's kind of a rough Yeah, let me try a different filament. It's kind of a funky, it's really brittle too. It just broke into a bunch of pieces. Let's try the same silky stuff I was using. Yeah, that went straight through. That's all the way to the nozzle. Let me try it again. Oh, you guys can't see. Oh, gotta keep forgetting. So it's going through, into the hot end, into the nozzle. I don't see it being problematic. I do agree though, that like what you're saying definitely makes sense. If there is a bit more of a cavity for the PTFE to recess into, you could add, you know, at least a few more millimeters. But I also think that the way I got it, there's not enough room on either side, like a gap for this to pop out or any other direction. So I think we run with it. I forgot I had Dr. Pepper. I do think the hole might be big enough for the PTFE to slide into, which is why they're recommending that. But if you look, like, you can't really see it, but the PTFE is nearly flush with the top. We're gonna move on. I feel like we'll be fine. If not, then I will absolutely, I will admit that I was incorrect, and you guys can say I told you so, but I think it'll be fine. All right, so push gear forward. Should already be forward. And then push screws back. We already did that, no? Hot end is the Dragonfly. Wait, Malcolm, PTFE length for Dragonfly, BM hot end all the way to heatsink. Okay. Malcolm says PTFE length for Dragonfly pinned all the way into the heatsink and then. Okay. All right, I won't argue that. Let's do it. It'll only take a second to recut that. Somebody is using heavy power tools outside. Come on. Why is this? Oh. Yeah, there's definitely, I mean, okay. Let's just see here. Thinking. Calipers are where? There they are. Yeah, so from where the PTFE would be stopping, there's roughly 13 and a quarter millimeters. So, and mine was only sticking out, what, 7 millimeters? So let's do this again. Let's, I'm just gonna use my teeth, but we'll use this. Yeah, no, you guys are right. I don't know why I was trying to cut a corner there. I actually didn't realize it was that recessed, but I'm glad thank you for coming in and convincing me. All right, so let's start off by cutting this flat. inserting into here. We're gonna go for 13 millimeters, like exactly. Start long. Make sure you have a Dragonfly specific mid body. Yeah, I should. You're talking about like this actual portion? This actual portion, or this centerpiece? STLs, Toolheads, mini AfterBurner, Dragonfly. No, this is, yeah, this is the right part. You scared me. Okay, so what did I say? 13 mil, right? Is what we're going for. So let's see if I can get that close. It was easier before I inserted, let me see here. I'm not gonna cut it on my finger, but I'm gonna try to make a slight indent that I could see. Yeah. Okay. All right, let's do this again. Yeah, that goes way in there. What am I missing? It's tough to, it's gonna be tough to, maybe not. Yeah, it's way in there now. It's way in there. So for anybody else that has a Dragonfly, 13 millimeters is what I measured from where the PTFE exits that top piece to where it would basically bottom out on the top of the Dragonfly. Just for fun, one more time, let's insert a piece of filament and make sure that we can get it through. Yeah, easy peasy. Cool, we're good. All right. So the next piece is going to be to push back the screws. Where is this guy? Okay. So next thing we're going to do is slightly push back the all the screws, I guess, a little bit. So that way we can put this piece, which is the piece that we put the heat inserts into a moment ago, in there. This also has the little bearing. So we will go like this. On the other mini AfterBurner I did, the holes are so worn that I don't have to loosen these screws because it just kind of pops out and pops in, but Wait a minute, am I tripping? Oh, interesting. Okay, okay. All right, so yeah, we are going to insert this with the pegs facing inwards. So like that. And you want the little center post should line up with the bearing. So let's try to do that. Ooh, it's beautiful. Cool. And then, what does it want us to do next? Next, it wants us to insert this top portion, which I don't think we've used yet, right? Nope. And then we are going to put two M3x30s through it, and then grab the BMG thumb screw and spring. So let's do that. So let's go ahead and place like that. And then we will take M3x30s. I do not have out. M3x30s. Call it now because I need to head to bed soonish. That's right, you were here earlier on. No worries, man. I know it is very late where you're at. Thanks for hanging out, man. I'm just gonna thread all of these screws in. All right, this one looks like you can go in a couple more turns. God, it's looking so good. Just look at it, it's so cute, man. It's such a small little, it's a small tool head. All right, now we need thumb screw and spring. This is an empty bag, trying to keep all empty bags out of here. Huh, there's a little washer. I don't remember using a washer on my first build. I'm not gonna... Oh! Yeah, your message did not construe that. All right, so the tensioner in the spring is going to go through here, and then there should be a heat insert if you did things correctly that you installed. So let's see. Yeah, it goes right in. It sounds like a, it's weird, that sound. It sounds like ground pepper. I don't know if you guys could hear that. It sounds like exactly like when you ground pepper on a salad. Anyways, that's really weird. Okay, well, we are good. This should latch up. Wow, that's pretty tight. This is very tight. Might take a little bit to kind of work in. Okay. Next, it says check for binding, turn the gear and check if there's any binding or snags. All right. Ooh, it's so smooth. Check this out. All right, so just using my finger on this gear to spin it, make sure it doesn't snag or bind, and it is just the smoothest. Yep, we're good. That's awesome. And then it says, check for clearance. The drive shaft must not extend past the printer's body. Oh, okay. Yeah. Basically, what I mentioned earlier is this little portion right here. It wasn't supposed to be longer than 3 millimeters. And if it was longer than 3 millimeters, when you get to this point, this actual little post in the center would be protruding outward. And that's problematic because we're going to be installing the motor flush up against this. And so if that's sticking out, that would be an issue. So hopefully you would have caught it way earlier on since we did check for that. But this should be, this should not stick out any further than this printed part. So smooth. It's definitely smoother than the Triangle Labs gears that I had. And also with the Triangle Labs stuff, I had to sand the post, which, you know, isn't the end of the world, but it also wasn't fun. Like, you know, and I didn't have the printed out little guide to make sure it was 3 millimeters. So I kept like sanding for a little bit, then measuring, and nope, sanding for a little bit, measuring. So I don't know, like I don't know what the cost difference is if you're sourcing, you know, OEM Bondtech versus Triangle Labs, but I will say that like having it in this kit is super nice. Do I plan on using a backplate on the hotend like the other one? No, I'm not with this one. I liked the backplate, but I had some issues with it for sure. The specific like crimp type is, I'll have to dig it up later on. But it's not a crimp type that I've used before, and so when I seated the crimped cables inside of the little connectors, not all of them make like I was having issues with basically the endstop on occasions would stop working, or like one of the fans would not get connection appropriately, and so it's not the mod's fault, it's my fault, and those crimps I've never used before. But a combination of that, although again, I'm super happy with that Voron, it's been working really, really well. A combination of that and also that I'm at least starting off building this thing stock. The only mods I probably have planned are some kind of LEDs because LEDs. And then Fabreeko did send over the automatic, or like a belted Z and then bed leveling, so I might end up installing that at some point. Snacks sound awesome. I also am hungry. It's 2:30 and all I've had is Apple Jacks with Cocoa Pebbles. We were almost out of Cocoa Pebbles, so I had half a bowl, then topped it off with Apple Jacks. I got the TL Nano coated gears today. They're so smooth, even more than Bondtech. I don't know what the TL Nano coated gears are. Oh, Triangle Labs, Nano coated gears. I haven't heard of those. All right, so it does require you to actually disassemble just the top 2 screws and then take off that back plate we just put on. That was more, we were just installing it to make sure that everything was fitting correctly. So we'll go ahead and quickly take these 2 screws out. And then this back plate should either pop out, or I might undo the screws on the bottom just to help it a little. Come on, buddy. There we go. Ah, the bearing actually popped out. Interesting. Don't lose the bearing. It's very important. All right, that's fine. Okay. Next step, I believe we're mounting that back plate onto the printer itself. Yeah, we are. Okay, let's do a little bit of cleanup again here. Erin's at work. She works 12 to 6 today, I believe. And we chucked the pizza. I ordered 2 extra larges and we had pizza for like 3 days straight. I don't know why I ordered so much pizza. I think like, I was thinking with my stomach instead of my head. I think that's like the saying. But yeah, we had pizza for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for a couple days. And then I think we ate through all of it, but 2 slices. I'm dropping spanners. Okay, so now we're gonna grab, we're going to grab this guy. Let's go to the unbox cam. I am gonna have to cut these down very soon here. Triangle Labs RNC nitrogen-based chain nano coating. Jesus, that's a mouthful. That's awesome though. I think it's been a while since I mentioned it. If anyone is new to the stream or hasn't been here for a while and you have not, please hit the like button. It really helps out the stream and the channel as we're trying to kind of build up this side channel here. Okay, so we are going to take 2 more of the tapping screws and we are going to attach this to the printer right here, which is exciting. Let's see. Self-tap, self-tap, self-tap. Where are they? There they are. Ooh. Is it like the smash button or smash the like button? Smash the like button is definitely the standard, but I like the smash button. Let's see, I don't use the self-tapping screws. I find it sturdy enough with just the 3 screws. Interesting. On this portion, you don't. You pay for 2 pizzas and get 3. Oh God, that sounds so good. Stop, I'm getting hungry. Okay, so let's go ahead and install. So it's very hard to see with this lighting, but there's a tiny little dot right here and a tiny little dot right here, and that is where we are going to insert the screw that I just dropped into. So we will slot the self-tapping screw right here, and then we will get it started, hopefully. There we go. Let me get the second one started too. Interesting. You just don't like the self-tapping screws, or you think it's overkill? They just really seem to bite into the part, which I like, for the sake of, I mean, I don't know, like words are tough right now, but I like that it really grips onto the other part. Especially if you're, you know, like, I don't know, just the more things to secure the pieces together, I just don't see the negative. But I mean, if you didn't do it and it's working fine, then I'm sure certain elements of things might be partially overkill, you know? Come on. Ow. Definitely don't over torque these though, just because the parts are somewhat delicate. All right. It's just easier to, oh, I get you. Yeah, if you need to remove it. Hamburg here. Got one near me too, like 8 minutes by foot. Oh man. There's a Domino's. Where's the Domino's I just went to the other day? It was a little bit further. It was actually like, cause I got done streaming and woke up and was like, I want pizza. And so I ordered online and it said like contactless delivery, where they say pull up, tap on your phone, and then like put your hazards on. And so I did that, and the guy came out and like, you know, said 3, like, which I assume meant 3 minutes. And like 15 to 20 minutes passed by, and I came inside and he had completely forgot about me, and I was like, awesome. Hey, what's up? 75 Echo, greetings from Denmark. It is a far way away. Thanks for stopping by. God, you guys are killing me with this food talk right now. All right, so we got this installed. Next, it is time to install the mini AfterBurner. So before I do that, I'm actually gonna cut these belts. I am going to cut them quite a bit. I'm not gonna cut them completely flush because if I ever need to take, excuse me, if I ever need to take this apart, which I had to do quite a few times on my first build, I wanna leave at least, I don't know, maybe a centimeter sticking off each, so that way I can try to use like needle nose pliers to pull it through. If you cut it completely flat, there's no way you're ever getting the belts back through this. So let me see, scissors. I'm gonna cut it right about here and I will show you guys. Leaving a little bit sticking off the end hasn't been problematic, and I just kind of feed it around the heatsink. Let's see, cut it right about there. Yeah, so like that. I don't know how well you can see that, but it's a bit more than a centimeter. But yeah, if the heatsink sit, I just kind of like open them like that and they sit around the heatsink, but I haven't had any issues at all. Thank you, Lisa. Okay, so yeah, next thing is just to reinstall the mini AfterBurner, which should be very simple considering we just had it working. The one thing I'm not fully gathering. So the one thing I find a little bit weird is, again, having these fans connected I get, but if I install it right now, when I want to route the wires, no, that might be fine actually. No, we should be fine. I think I am overthinking. Okay, so we are just going to then go ahead and bolt this into place. That moment that maybe I'm wrong about the belts. I didn't have an issue with the belts with the Dragon hotend, but the Dragon hotend also has a very different heat sink. No, I think we're gonna be fine. Let's give this a go. We finally got your attention. Oh yeah, food. Dude, I love me some food. I'm gonna try to like thread, or not thread, but screw in all of them a little bit, just to see if I can make sure. Well, this is going in way easier than my first build as it also. That one is not tightening. The PA09s are amazing. Yeah, the PA09s are recommended by Greg from Greg's Maker Corner, and they have been just everything I could ever want in crimps. This side is not going in. Poor KY. Trying to put a little bit of pressure inward to see if I can get the screw on the far right to bite, but I might need to start over. Let's take it off. So this is right now the far right one's being problematic, so let's try to get that one in first. definitely in the right slot. I wonder if... It's odd. Let me check something real quick here. It looks fine. Let me make sure. I'm gonna make sure I can thread a screw into that slot. Yeah, easy peasy. Interesting. So you're... Oh, I think I got it. Yes. Yes. Black and gray looks awesome. All right, so top is tight. Yeah, it's so funny. Greg from Greg's Maker Corner recommended that, and it was excellent. I don't think he recommended the ferrule connectors that I got. Or the ferrule crimpers that I got, but he also recommended this stuff. I had said that I was having issues with glue. Like every time I get a super glue, it works, you know, for its initial use, and then it gets completely clogged up on the top, and then I have to cut it down, and then I end up wasting a lot of it, and it creates a mess. And so he recommended this stuff, and the downside is, like, as far as its viscosity, like, it is incredibly thin and runny. However, I've used it for quite a while now. He said he's had his for years, and I never have issues with it clogging up the top, so it's amazing. Loosen the top screw about half a turn. It looks like it needs to go in quite a bit more. All right, top looks good. Bottom one's, this middle one to me is, it's not being very nice, but I feel like it needs to go in more. There we go. Oh, make sure your latch doesn't bind. Got you. Okay. I will check that. Yeah, right. Torque it down. That seems pretty good. It's nice and parallel to the into the frame like I want it. Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's good. All right, stepper motor mounting time. Where is the... I started using Everglue. Is it sent directly from... It cures really fast on the top and never gets clogged. I build miniatures. Interesting. Is it goopy or is it runny? 'Cause this is like water almost again, which is like the only downside of it is it's hard to just get it exactly in one spot. It always get a little bit more, but I do love that it doesn't get all jacked up. All right, so, nope, yes. Next thing is to grab the stepper motor. So let's do that. See if I can get it. I think it's... I don't think you guys can see if I go... No. Unbox cam it is. All right, so plug, upright, motor, kind of pushed into the mini afterburner, and then I had mentioned before, but well, you guys can't really see it. This little section with the X-axis end stop, like push the wires so that way they're within that little slit. You don't want to you don't want them being pinched underneath the motor. That looks perfect. Medium viscosity CA. Yeah, I've just had really bad luck with glues. Let's see, M3x8s is what we need. M3x8, M3x8. I'm gonna move this out of the way. I don't know why I still have it there. Okay. Oops. So we are going to insert the M3x8s through the printed part and into the stepper motor. We're gonna drop a screw. I'm just gonna thread it a little bit. I'm not gonna thread it the whole way because if I'm not mistaken, we need to install the spacers. Let me see. Screen. Okay, so I put the motor on top of there again, make sure the wires aren't being pinched. Put the 2 screws in, but I believe we need the spacers. Yeah. So I'm going to grab those 2 spacers, which are... We installed the heat inserts into these at the beginning of the stream, so these little guys. And we're going to thread those screws that we're putting into the motor into one of the sides of this. So... pretty perfect. Everglue sounds like Evergiven, which got stuck in the sand in Suez Canal. yeah, I guess I've been through quite a few headphones. I usually go pretty inexpensive though. The HyperX Cloud, like second version or whatever, they've been really good. Gorilla Glue, super glue with cat hair. I don't have a problem with glues. Maybe I sniffed too much in the 70s. I've seen people do a Toolhead print fan. Interesting. I've seen people do a Toolhead print fan delete. Then instead of replaced with two larger capacity fans on each extruder side that is channeled by ducts to the printhead. Any plans to do that here? I don't think so. Maybe, I think usually those are like, because this is the second V0, right, that I've built. This is the first that's an LDO kit. The original one was self-sourced, and it's been printing great. I've got like 150 print hours on it. Most of the parts on here actually have been printed on that printer. The only reason I could think of adding what you're describing would be like if I'm really just trying to go insanely fast. And the speeds I've been printing at are around 150 millimeters a second with the stock setup, and it's been great. I guess the only other thing I can think of is if you're trying to print with, say, like PLA, you know, and you need to be able to cool it quicker, because that is one thing I've seen from people with these printers is that like sometimes with PLA, if you're printing, you know, super fast at high temps, it can't cool the PLA quite quick enough. So that's the only thing I could think of, but I don't have plans of doing that right now, no, because I've had such good luck with the stock setup. Even though my other one's not exactly stock, but yeah, it's not in the cards right now at least. All right, so next we're gonna grab this printed part, which is the strain relief, which I did not take out already. Do you have a V0 75? Or is this something that you're looking into? Damn, we are getting low on printed parts, which is a good problem, because that means that we're making good progress. And then we need M3x6s, which are not these. M3x6, M3x6, cool. Okay, gotcha. Are you going with an, okay, Formbot kit version. Did you recently build it, or have you had it up for a while? Let's see, okay. So this little printed piece, let me show actually a close up of it, it's gonna be used for strain relief on the motor. And so the little like portion that's sticking out needs to go towards the motor. It basically sits on top of the motor. And then we're gonna use these two M3s, right? M3x6s from the backside to screw it into those spacers. So if I go on this side, let's turn it around actually. Probably easier to see. And let's not drop it off the table. So the spacers are sticking out, and we're going to place this guy like this. And then we are going to screw it into the other side of the spacers, which, like that. And you don't really need, like, you don't need to go very tight on these. Like, I mean, you want them tight, obviously, but because it's basically just a spacer for the strain relief, I don't go overly tight. Just tight enough. Maybe like one more turn. Yeah, it should be good. Oh, 2 months old. Okay, so yeah, yours is about as old as mine. I think what are we? We're in November, October. It's probably about, mine might be a little bit older, like 2-3 months. What, like, is yours pretty stock based off of the Formbot kit, or have you done a lot of stuff to it? All right. So cable management, there are loops for zip ties. Oh my God, that's all we have is just to zip tie, loop, and then we're on wiring. That's incredible. Okay, so I pretty much have everything on one side. The only thing... Oh. Yeah, the only thing I really have on the other side is one of these blower fan cables, but most all of, let me see. Huh. So that's a little bit of an issue. Wait, maybe not. Maybe not actually. Nope. We have plenty of room to go over it. Yeah, I pretty much have all wires running up one side, and then I don't think that'll be a problem, but that is not how I did it on the first build. Let me try with this side first. So on the screw, it's gonna be really, like, probably near impossible to get good footage of what we're gonna be, I know that should be, I think it'll be fine. I just don't want it pressing on the belts. But basically on, okay, Zeron is going to sleep now this time for real. Thanks for hanging out, man. Have a good night. Pretty much stock with the fattiest Dragonfly. It prints fine at 120, could be pushed more, but I'm satisfied with the speed. Is it almost twice? Yeah, that is exactly how I feel. Like, coming from, you know, using a lot of like Ender 3 type machines that I usually print around like 60 millimeters a second, maybe 70 if I'm feeling crazy. But like, and again, I know that I've seen people installing Clipper on them and running Input Shaper, and they're printing them much faster. But since I haven't done that up until this point, having this print just at 120, 130 or what, like it's incredibly impressive to me. So, but yeah, basically I'm going to be inserting a zip tie in through this little loop, which I don't think there's any way I can really get to pick up on camera, and then pulling the cables through there and then tightening it on both sides. But the interesting thing I did this time is I kind of had the cables more split up on my first build, while on this one, they're literally all on one side with the exception of one blower fan being on the other side. So my only concern is having all of these cables on one side, making it thicker, meaning will it cause some sort of, will it push on the belts at all is my concern. Now I totally understand, whoever earlier said that they did the heater wires on the opposite side because they are the biggest. I wonder, could I do the thermistor on the other side instead? It's kind of weird looking. I could do the thermistor wires around the other side. How strange is that gonna look though? It doesn't look all that strange because you can't really notice it. All right, let's just try it. Let's try this. All right, so zip ties, you need really, really small zip ties. They did include some with this build. I've got a bunch of them. Yeah, we're gonna attempt to just do all the cables on one side with the exception of that one blower fan cable, and if it ends up being problematic, I can reroute them. But I think we might be okay. On these, can you really see this? On the zip tie, what I did previously was like kind of get the tip of it and press it against your finger to make it curve, and you kind of hook it through the loop. Actually, fair channel time problem is stealth chop threshold on your tip to change the values to 0, 0. Oh, that's awesome. When did I announce that? Was that was on this channel, right? Not on the main channel? Because I don't think that I even discovered that until, that's awesome though. I'm happy to hear that. It was really frustrating me. I couldn't figure out why, come on, zip tie. I couldn't figure out why I was having so many issues once I started going at decent speeds. And the solution's always like, you know, something relatively simple. All right, so we are going to pull all of these wires. That's awesome that that helped though, man, because I was a bit frustrated with that until I figured it out, so it's cool that it helped you out. I think this could be okay. I don't want to pull too tight. So I'm definitely putting some pressure pulling these wires upwards. Try not to overdo it because I also don't want to damage, obviously, anything that I'm pulling, but I do want them somewhat vertical. And I'm looking at the belts. It doesn't appear that these cables are pushing the belts inward. That was my biggest concern. So I think we're gonna be okay. So we will cut this zip tie. I'm not gonna go any tighter than, am I gonna go tighter than that? No, I don't want to script the main cable I'm concerned with is honestly the thermistor. It's the most delicate little wire. Yeah, I think that's fine. And then let's do the same to the other side. The other side is going to be a piece of cake because we're only inserting one cable. I can't even see this. One sec. Bear with me, guys. I can't even see this. It's so dim lit. Come on. Oh, it's trying. It is trying. Yes, we did it. All right. Okay, mic falling down on my neck consistently, cable going through, pulling up. Do they make heaters that fit inside the enclosure for the V0. What do you mean heaters? Like for actual heating the chamber? I don't think I would heat the chamber even with ABS parts. Like other than like, you know, what your bed's probably gonna do. All right. That looks beautiful. Awesome. Okay, so the last thing on the cable management says there are loops for zip ties on, which we did that, but it's the top portion, which I don't know if I want all of the cables to route towards that. Is that normally how it's done? Is that how it's normally done? Both, like the cables kind of route? Let's go unbox. Since I did the umbilical cord mod, I didn't have all these long wires, but is this typically how the cable management's done on this? Like they're routed towards the top, then one zip tie connects it to this, and then I use a, like the cable wrap for the rest of it? G funny, put the fireman. Yeah, I think that's a bad idea too. The only machine I've used with a heated chamber is this like iFast thing that's $2,500 that I've been testing out, and there's no printed parts. It's like all aluminum and linear rails and stuff like that. I just think that if you're heating stuff, like it really, like, you've really got to have a machine out for it. Okay, cool. Thank you, G Funny. Stealth Chop doesn't work on high speed. Just use TMC 226s and you fly. Yeah, Stealth Chop was the main problem I was having with Stealth Chop. Like that's what Sony Fabreeko was talking about. I was running into issues with Stealth Chop. It was causing my steppers to skip, which sucked. It took me quite a while to figure it out too, which sucked more. Ooh, baby. I like don't want to pull too tight, but I also don't want it to be able to slip off. I don't think it's slipping off. I'm scared. I don't want to pull it anymore. I'll do. Okay, no, that is tight. That is not going anywhere. Maybe too tight. Actually, now that I'm like, yeah, that might be too tight. Yeah, the chamber gets hot enough for sure for things like ABS or ASA. I don't know if I pulled that too tight. If we have any issues with cables, this is gonna be, I think, the choke point of where the problems are stemming from. But my only concern was I also didn't want, I don't want the cables to be able to pop off or the zip tie to come loose. We'll see, we'll give it a go. The Prusa Mini is firmware locked to spread cycle? That's interesting. Why? Considering that it's not Dustin's back. So at this point, I'm wondering if at this point I should put the cable sleeving on it. Try not to trip. Where is the cable stuff? Okay, here's. Well, for starters, like we're taking a moment we're taking a moment and we're clapping because that's the hardware. I mean, other than starting to mount the electrical stuff, that's the printer's hardware, other than the aesthetic. Okay, we still got more to go, but like that's where we've made some really good progress. This is good. This is questionable. I did sort of, I wish I hadn't tightened it so tight. We'll see. But yeah, the question I've got is, should we throw this on right now? I feel like the answer is yes. Just because, right? Like I feel like we should route all the wires through this. This is also an interesting wrap. This is not a wrap that I'm used to. Usually the ones I've used are either interesting. Wait. Okay. G-Phony says wait. Hey, it's safer than ain't it? Yeah. I would tilt power up. Gotcha. We'll leave it for now. We'll leave it for right now. Yeah, it's interesting wrap. So I think 75, thanks for hanging out, man. I don't know definitively how far we're gonna get today. Like so we've been streaming for 3 hours, and usually by the 3 hour point, I'm hungry, which I am hungry. So we're gonna take a break. I wasn't sure I was gonna take a break today, but let's take a break. And then when we come back, I would like to get power supply mounted, that, plug things in. Let's see if we can get through the wiring. Not right this second, when we get back. So it is 3:09 my time, which is Pacific Standard. We'll be back at 4:30. At 4:30, we will do the wiring. I'd really like to get it pushing at least a little bit of plastic today, like even if it just starts a square and then we call it. But we'll play that by ear. But yeah, let's definitely take a break and come back in an hour and 20 minutes and do the electrical, and then we'll cross the next bridge after that point. But I can feel it. I need to make some food and just sit for a few. But I'm really happy AfterBurner is on and the end stops are in, and now we're on electrical, so awesome. Okay, G-Phony will be back when we're ready. Yeah, it sounds good. Hopefully everyone can come back in, again, an hour and 20, or at least stop by. But let's take a break, and then when we get back, we will do electrical. I'm very happy. I don't know where 3 hours went, though. It's insane to me, but I am very happy that we got the AfterBurner on. It seems like everything's working great with it. The thing that took the longest probably was probably getting that drill bit to clear out everything. So, all right, y'all. Well, I will see you guys in a little bit, and yeah, bye. Thanks for hanging out. Wait, I can't end the stream yet. 1 sec. No, I can end the stream. All right, I'll see you guys.